welcome back to Plain Speak, where we dive into the intersection of technology and customer support. We're going to have Joe Lynch. Oh, there you are. Hey, Joe.
Hi.
Hey, super thrilled to have you joining us as the head of customer experience at Dandy for a deep dive into crafting customer experience excellence in dentistry. So, Joe, your journey is super unique and inspiring. You started your career at the U.S. Naval Academy at 17, later served as a special operations officer in the Navy. And then after leaving the military, Joe pursued an MBA at Columbia, worked at Bain as a consultant, and bringing us today, eventually found his passion in customer experience. So Dandy revolutionizes dental care by offering fully digital dental products. So think crowns, dentures, clear aligners through their wholly unique digital workflow. So to best achieve this, they provide dentists with digital scanners and a comprehensive customer portal, streamlining the entire dental process. And at Dandy, Joe's played a pivotal role in transforming the customer experience organization by building a technology-backed department that's committed to making Dandy's dental customers wonder what they ever did before their solution. So for anyone joining us for the first time, I'm your host, Liz Tsai, CEO and founder of High Operator, the leading customer support solution that scales dynamically based on a company's evolving needs. Our tools, including Highlight AI and High Auto, leverage a little bit of NLP, lots of workflow automation, and some generative AI to handle complex customer requests. For our listeners, thanks for joining us. If you have questions or comments, please feel free to put them into the chat wherever you're watching this. We will try and address these during the session, or we'll follow up with you on LinkedIn later. So Joe, welcome again to Plain Speak.
Thanks,
Just to
Liz.
set the stage for us, super excited to have you. Can you tell us a little bit more about what customer experience looks like at Dandy? So specifically, who's your customer? What are they reaching out about? What does that sort of use case and journey look like?
Yeah, the simplest way of describing Dandy is that we make teeth, dental restorative products, crowns, bridges, veneers, clear aligners. And our customer is dentists or dental practices. You'll hear me refer to dentists or doctors. In our world, they are the same. And we sell exclusively to dentists. So we equip them with a digital intraoral scanner, and they send us lab restorations and restorative work for their patients. They may reach out for a number of different reasons. Our primary use cases are clinical support, technical support, which is help making and planning patient workflows, material selections, what product is best for a certain type of patient. And then the second is, how do they use the equipment that we sent them? How do they work through and navigate the product, similar to e-commerce or Shopify type requests? Where's my order? Billing questions, credit requests, return labels, etc.
Awesome. So all the basics of e-commerce customer support, but then layered on all the expertise and specialized workflows of a dental office. So for our folks with anxiety around dental work like me, y'all are behind the scenes working with a dentist to make that a smoother experience.
That's right.
Awesome. So Joe, your background in the military and as a consultant is really unique, but it also seems to have uniquely prepared you for your role in customer experience. Tell us a little bit about how your experience in the Navy and then at Bain, two, I assume, different organizations, influenced your approach to leading the customer experience team at Dandy.
Yeah, customer experience is really about knowing the details, understanding customer pain points, what areas of the product that they're having trouble with, that they need to contact and work with the support team. My time in the Navy, especially at the Naval Academy as an EOD and special operations officer, really taught me the importance of attention to detail and leadership. Being hands-on, knowing the details, being deeply involved in understanding every nuance of an operation is fundamental to any type of work that you do in the military. Mm-hmm. At Bain, really honed my skills in problem solving, understanding business fundamentals, how to build a model, how to build a spreadsheet, tell a story via a deck. And that combination of military discipline and strategy consulting experience has been instrumental at Dandy. I approach customer experience at Dandy today with a mindset of precision, empathy, and efficiency, and also focus on ensuring that every team member in our support team is equipped to deliver the highest level of service.
That's awesome. It's sort of that level of precision as well as scalability. But in here, you said understanding customer pain points and using data points to really address them, right? To equip every team member. Can you elaborate on how Dandy utilizes customer feedback as well as that data analysis or feeds it back to the individual team member? How do you use that loop to continuously refine services and customer interactions?
Yeah, it's the heartbeat of our business today. Customer feedback is analyzed. We review it every single day. We look at interactions every single day, whether it's a support ticket, a product interview with a dentist, and by doing so, we try and find common pain points and opportunities for improvement in the product, in our offering, in our services, uh, and we use that to drive great experiences. Our CSAT score today is 97.6%, which is something that we're obviously
Incredible.
incredibly proud of. Yeah, I mean, we're incredibly proud of, and that starts with a data-driven approach that allows us to address issues, improve products, and do it proactively. If we
Mhm.
notice a recurring issue in customer feedback, in how customers are taking digital impressions, we always go back to the fundamentals of the operation. We look at our processes and technology. We try and build a solution, ship it to customers, and then ensure continuous improvement in the experience. It's also deeper than that, and it starts with the team. Um, every single one of our customer support agents today has some background in dentistry. That's unheard of, right? But it reflects a true commitment to understanding customer pain points and needs. Um, and for me, it's personal, right? Like I'm not just the head of CX at Dandy. I'm also
Mhm.
a patient. I'll show you my tooth. But
Wow.
I've benefited from Dandy technology, and this is a Dandy partial. Um, it's incredible. I was injured in the Navy. I lost a tooth. I finally got it extracted in September. Working with a doctor that we partner with at Dandy, and I mean the technology is amazing. The experience is amazing as a patient, and working with my dentist to see and know when my partial would come in and experience the product. It's amazing. So I really
Wow.
see that for data, human interaction, um, and innovation in dental, like really drives a great feedback loop, and it allows us at Dandy to hit a 97.6% CSAT.
That's incredible. And what a cool technology where you're not just making people's lives easier, better in terms of the dental offices, but you can actually sort of see that individual personalized impact. That is super, super cool. Um, and so there's a lot of innovation, right, on the dental technology side. And it sounds like you guys have brought a lot of that same approach of data innovation into the customer support side. How does this focus on technological advancement? How do you take it from very innovative products, but how do you translate that into your customer experience strategies when it comes to personalization and efficiency? Like as a dental patient, I can think of it's very individualized for every patient. But as you mentioned earlier, you actually mostly work with dental offices and doctors. How do you translate that through?
Yeah, I think it's important to highlight here that like Dandy's technology is revolutionary, and
Mhm.
it's always been the core of our customer experience strategy. Um, our dental lab is fully digital today. Every single impression that we take is digital, and we have bespoke software that we work with our practices to partner with, and it allows us to provide personalized, efficient services at scale. Every single product that we make is bespoke to the patient. It's custom design and manufacturing at enormous scale. And for context, when you go into a dental practice today, if you're going to a traditional lab, if you had restorative work, you start with basically a goo uh, that the patient gets put in their mouth, and they take an impression, and then the dentist has to physically mail them to a lab. They're physically writing out an order slip. We handle all of that digitally. So dentists don't have to worry about managing stock of PVS material. And everything happens faster as a result. So our technology has always been centered around streamlining the customer experience, and making sure that everything happens faster with a higher degree of accuracy and customization for each patient.
Mhm.
We take data from every interaction, and we're constantly refining our services to predict customer needs. And it's a virtuous feedback loop. Our backend also looks like an e-commerce platform, so dentists and their teams can navigate it for ordering, just like they would if they were ordering something online at a typical store. That experience is deeply intentional, right? We want our customers and dentists to feel like the practice portal is intuitive, and they can work their way around the platform.
Fascinating. It's really the best of all worlds because Dandy is in kind of a unique situation, right? Where the payer is not necessarily the user of your platform. And as someone who's only experienced the dental patient side of things, yeah, I mean, you go in and you have to bite down on this thing and they're taking an impression.
Yeah.
And I have a chipped crown that I've been putting off for 3 months because I don't want to go through that process, right? So it's so beneficial to the patient. But the thing we just said just now is looking at that e-commerce workflow, you actually make the experience significantly smoother and better for the dental office and their teams as well, right? So you're navigating, it's got all the same e-commerce logistics. How does that work today? Do they actually have to call up a lab, send in a slip?
That's exactly right. Yeah,
Interesting.
they may call up a lab, they may send in a slip, and it goes through UPS, FedEx, and that's in many ways dated. So the ability to take an impression right in your office, send it immediately to Dandy, where we can start designing and manufacturing that restorative item, it's incredible, right? It cuts the time. It cuts the time that it takes a practice to get the restoration back. They can schedule their patient on time, and they can do it reliably and predictably.
It's an incredible experience all around there. So this idea of sort of customer support in the dental industry is maybe actually a little bit new, right? Because I think a lot of people, when they think about the dental industry, they think about their local dentist, the office they have a relationship with, right? But when you think about the future of customer support in the dental industry, now that it is a concept that exists because of all the digitalization and innovation, what trends, Joe, do you foresee, especially when you think about the integration of technology, that process driven aspect of it, and then the very human aspect of customer service?
Yeah, I think especially in dentistry and probably across medicine, right? The future of support is a blend of technology, but really centered and enabled by human empathy.
Mhm.
AI, machine learning, both will play a real significant role in personalization of the experience and improving efficiency. But the human aspect is critical. Um, as you think about patients and doctors, right, and at Dandy, we continue to innovate technologically. We invest heavily in different tools. We're implementing an AI chatbot now, but we're also equally invested in team training and development. And for every answer that we get a little bit faster, we double down on ensuring that our interactions are empathetic, informed, and just genuinely helpful. Um, for us, that is
Absolutely.
a core tenet.
Cool. Yeah, to double click on something there, because you said something actually about your team. Two things that were really interesting, right? One was that every support team member has some degree of dental experience. And now I suspect some of our CX leaders are hearing that and thinking, that's the dream. You've got nothing but experts on the team. But also, too, that sounds really hard to scale and hire, and that sounds kind of expensive. That's one thing you said. But then you also said, you foresee a future where technology very much enhances human interaction, not replacing it, making every customer experience more effective and meaningful. Can you give us some maybe tangible examples or many case studies of how you sort of bridge the gap between this? Are you guys using technology to really speed up the team and allow for the right experts in the right places? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I think an example, and we implemented a new CRM in April of 23. And it comes in a couple different ways. So first, we are absolutely using technology to speed up interactions. We want to get our doctors on and off the phone as quickly as possible so that they don't have
Yeah.
to disrupt their day. When they call in, we want them to get the answer, as quickly as possible, provided it's the correct answer and that we're able to support them as quickly as possible, right? Time to response is a critical CX measure. Um, that's always true. And when you look at routing and routing optimization, there's whole case studies about making sure that you are getting your customers serviced quickly. Um,
Yeah.
um, and we've done a ton of work here. We saw a 7 ticket reduction per 100 items when we had updated our routing, strictly to eliminate team transfers. And that means that we provide direct access for our customers to select which expert do they want to talk to. Because sometimes they want to speak to someone to help them with their laptop or their scanner. Another time they may want to speak to a clinical expert around an anterior restoration. Giving customers choice, giving them the flexibility to get connected with the right support team member at Dandy is huge. It's a driver of great experience, great interaction, and does result in real efficiency, right? If you're not making a transfer, they're not talking to someone for a minute or 2 minutes to diagnose the issue and then pass them off to another team member. All of those minutes add up.
Makes sense. And what you're doing is trying to just sort of get the right inquiry to the right expert out the gate, right?
Yeah.
Which is really makes sense, because so when we talked about sort of the two sides of Dandy customer experience, it sounds like, and correct me if I'm wrong and help me paint the picture here, is that there's the e-commerce side, right? There are folks who have gone through the entire process, they've worked their scanner, they've placed their order, and they actually just now need to know, when is this crown coming, right? And then there are probably also parts of the support, like you just said, that are a lot more technical, right? Like how do I debug the scanner? How do I talk about that? How have you done that? How have you sort of divided up the team, allocated expertise, and how have you made sure that customers get to the right expert more quickly?
Yeah. So there's probably two parts to that. And the first one is, how do we debug the scanner? How do we debug the laptop? And what does the hiring profile look like? And then the second one is, making sure that we're getting to the right team. So let me take those in two parts. So the first one, our team is just, they're incredible, full stop. But
Yeah.
we've invested a ton of time in training. We have a rotational program where we train former dental assistants and teach them all of the IT handling workflows. So they're resolving and troubleshooting Windows laptops. They are resolving and troubleshooting scanner hardware. They run hardware tests. They run IT configuration. That is all training and development, and an experience that we just believe in it. It is a skills upgrade for our agents, but also it puts a level of empathy in the team that I don't think we could hire for elsewhere. And for us, that means all of our product support agents have experience in a dental office. They understand
Yep.
the use case for the scanner, so they've scanned patients themselves, and they understand, hey, this laptop is not working, the scanner's not working. They understand how frustrating that is for a dental assistant who's taking the scan, or a dentist who's taking the scan at that time, and they can help them resolve that that issue quickly. But also, there's just a level of empathy there that is real.
Yeah, they know what it's like to have the patient there
What it's like.
waiting, and they know the pressures, right?
Exactly. So, that's all training and development. And, we have a well-documented SOP and help center and knowledge base, but really it's time and experience, and a lot of time training. Your second question, I think, was around routing and improving that. This is a test and learn. I think, we talked about data and how we look at customer intents earlier. We call them contact motivators. Why was the customer motivated to contact Dandy? It gives us an insight into, hey, what's driving customers to need help. And we look at this and we pull the data. We understand where our intents ending up by team, and then we see which intents are getting most handed off between teams, so that we can understand, hey, is there language or wording that we need to tweak in routing, such that customers get routed to the right team at the right time, and they don't have to communicate multiple times what their issue is. That's all data.
Gotcha. Yeah, you're just predicting and you're learning about your customers to get them the right help at the right times. Super, super cool. And I guess I'm just a little stuck on this. Yeah, that hands-on empathetic experience, right? It's really hard to replicate. And yes, you can teach anyone to debug a machine, to debug a Windows computer, but that level of additional touch that you bring by someone who knows what it's like to be on the other side is really, really cool. They all have managed to get those people into the right seats. Now, one other unique thing about Dandy that I know came up a little bit when we were talking about this earlier is that, every end user probably only gets a couple of crowns in their lifetime, hopefully, right? They're not getting restorative dental work necessarily all of the time. But the actual customers that you and your team speak to, they're the dental offices. So they are placing many, many orders over the course of days, weeks, and months. And tell me a little bit about how data works there, because individualized, right, at the end user patient level. But then, are you guys able to sort of generalize that to individual offices and pick up on trends and better service them that way as well?
Yeah, so I think it's important to clarify. So we think our customer is the dentist, and so when we look at dental practices, and a dental practice may have one, two, three, 10 dentists within it. We look at the preferences at the customer level, which is the dentist. So we understand nuances of how they take a scan, what their preferences are when they're placing a restorative order, how do they like their margins, how do they like their contact thickness, and we embed those into our platform. That's all data. It's all machine learning. It is 3D engineering. We are always hiring at Dandy for technologists who are excited to blend real hard engineering problems and data problems with real patient empathy or customer empathy, and to drive strategy. But today, that all of those preferences are embedded into our portal. We learn how dentists order, what their preferences are, and we continually optimize that across our stack. So while yes, every patient's different, including my partial here. We know the preferences of our dentist, and we work to deliver against those.
That is super cool. So it really sounds like Dandy in a lot of ways, not just in the product, but across the service and the entire experience. It's really the blend of, stuff that's on the cutting edge of technology, right? Data that's been aggregated to provide customization at scale and really effortless experiences. And that touch of just empathy, of knowing inside and out what dentists and their offices want and need, and it's going to make their lives easier.
Exactly.
Super, super cool. Joe, thank you for sharing a little bit about that. To do a quick change of gears, each week as we wrap up, there's a rolling question. Yours is coming from Thomas Harden, the Senior Director of Customer Care at the Black Tux. And he'd love to know, Joe, what does the first and last hour of your day look like?
So I usually wake up to my kids in the morning. They sneak into the room, and I very quickly pour myself a cold brew. But once I get them up and ready out the door for school, I start every day by reviewing a few different sources of customer feedback. And so that looks like previous day operational performance. How did the queues perform? What's the status of open tickets? Any escalations? Then I look at performance dashboards, and then customer feedback verbatims that we get in our NPS reviews, any in-app feedback, and then if we have any customers churn, what the churn commentary looked like. And then we jump into an hour meeting. It's a customer transactional, which is our frontline managers run a daily review of customer interactions against specific customer intents. At the end of each one, we try and generalize that into a product shipment, a help center article, or knowledge base upgrade, so that we can use to eliminate customer pain points, or update agent SOPs so that they have smoother transactions, smoother interactions with customers.
Cool. So you're actually taking time every day to close that feedback loop. You're literally saying, hey, this is all of our feedback. Quantitatively, how do we improve the process?
Every single day.
Super cool. Not a lot of teams do that. Very, very cool.
Yeah, it's an hour meeting. It's a transactional. It's important, right? It keeps us grounded in the product, keeps us grounded in the customer. And if you start your day with it, you carry it through the rest of the day. And customer empathy, customer mindset it's how you start your day.
You're oriented. I love
it. It pulls you out of customer life. Yeah. Then at the end of the day, I take a break every day from 5:30 to 7:30. I put my kids give my kids dinner. I play with them, put them to bed. But once they're in the bed, I spend the day in kind of quiet reflection. So I write down any wins or losses for the day, and for myself, for the team. And that may mean, closing out any loose threads, any slacks that accumulate over the course of the day, reviewing any docs that my team has shared. So decks, any requests for input, any decisions that need to be made, drafting and sending out any slacks or cross team updates. And then I typically end the day. The last thing I do is prioritize anything that I need to do the next day, so that I make sure that, the one or two things that I need to get done actually get done the next day, and I don't let the day take over.
Awesome. That sounds like a super, well, I think what stands out to me is just the intention, right? The beginning, orienting to customers, and the end, sort of closing it out. Super appreciate that thoughtful response there. And Joe, for our next week's guest, what question would you like to ask them?
Yeah, I'd love to understand, what digital tools are you experimenting with in 24? And what's the general KPI you're expecting them to improve?
Tell me a little bit about your 2024 and KPIs.
Yeah, so we are closing out 2023. We did a telephony migration in December, which is not the typical time that teams do implementations, but
No.
we were very excited to push that across. And then we are in the middle of an implementation for a chatbot, an AI chatbot, and we're hoping to increase our accessibility. Today we cover 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern. We're hoping to embed enough capability in that chatbot so that customers can self-serve 24/7, 365.
That would be revolutionary in the dental field.
Yeah.
Super awesome, Joe. Thank you again so much for joining us, and thank you to everyone else who joined us today on Plain Speak. Remember, if you have customer support inquiries from today's talk or topics you'd like us to cover, please feel free to reach out and go learn more and join Joe's team at Dandy at meetdandy.com/careers. And then come tune in for our next episode on Wednesday, February 7th at 1 p.m. Eastern, where we'll be hosting a very special episode with the VP of Digital Customer Success at Salesforce. Stay tuned on LinkedIn for more information. We'll be exploring how Salesforce leverages digital innovation to redefine customer success. It's going to be exciting, enlightening, really data-focused. So please do mark your calendars and join us for another insightful conversation on Plain Speak. Thank you very much. And Joe, thank you again. This was an absolute pleasure.